Hello everyone, it's back with me again, Joseph, your host, and welcome back to our channel. Today we're journeying back in time to meet a remarkable saint who lived during one of history's biggest turning points. His name is Saint Avitus of Vienne, and his story is a powerful example of how faith, wisdom, and courage can light up even the darkest and most confusing times. His feast day is celebrated on February 5th, so let's dive into the life of this incredible bishop, poet, and leader. Imagine a world where everything you know is changing. The mighty Roman Empire, which had stood for centuries, was crumbling. New kingdoms, led by leaders with different beliefs and customs, were rising in its place. This was the world of Saint Avitus, born around the year 450 in Gaul, which we now know as France. Avitus wasn't just an ordinary citizen. He was born into a very important family. Think of them as the superheroes of their time, senators, leaders, and even related to a Roman emperor. His family was not only powerful, but also deeply faithful. In fact, leadership in the church ran in the family. His own father, Hesychus, was the Bishop of Vienne, and when the time came, Avitus followed in his footsteps, becoming bishop around the year 490. His brother, Apollinaris, also became a bishop, so you can see their family was truly dedicated to serving God and the people. Becoming a bishop in the late 5th century was no easy task. The land was now ruled by the Burgundians, a Germanic people who followed a different form of Christianity called Arianism. Arians had different beliefs about Jesus, and this created a lot of division and tension with the Catholic Church. Avitus found himself as a Catholic bishop in a kingdom that didn't share his faith. But Avitus was a man of great intellect and even greater charity. Instead of seeing the Burgundian kings as enemies, he chose a path of dialogue and friendship. He became a trusted advisor to King Gundobad, the Burgundian ruler. He didn't shout or condemn. Instead, he used his wisdom and gentle persuasion to explain the truths of the Catholic faith. He was playing the long game, planting seeds of faith with patience and love. One of his most famous acts of charity was using his own family's wealth to ransom people who had been captured during the conflicts of the time. He saw the suffering of others and couldn't stand by, put his money where his heart was, showing everyone that a true leader serves and cares for the vulnerable, no matter who they are. Avitus's hard work and gentle influence paid off in a huge way with the king's son, Sigismund. Through his friendship and guidance, Avitus helped Sigismund see the beauty and truth of the Catholic faith. When Sigismund became king, he converted to Catholicism, and his conversion was a turning point. It set the stage for the entire Burgundian kingdom to embrace the Catholic faith, healing a major division and uniting the people under one belief. This was a massive achievement, accomplished not through force, but through faith, reason, and personal connection. But Avitus wasn't just a local leader. He saw the bigger picture. He understood the importance of unity within the entire church. At the time, there was another disagreement happening between the church in Rome, led by the Pope and the church in Constantinople. Avitus worked tirelessly to help heal this rift. He was a strong defender of the authority of the Pope. Seeing the Bishop of Rome as the key to keeping the church united, he famously wrote, "If the Pope is rejected, it follows that not one bishop, but the whole episcopate threatens to fall." For him, united church was the strongest anchor in a changing world, in recognition of his leadership and wisdom. The Pope even appointed him as a special representative, or vicar apostolic in Gaul. In 517, he led a major meeting of bishops, the Council of Apion, to help restore order and discipline in the church, ensuring that its foundations remained strong. Beyond his incredible work as a diplomat and bishop, Avitus was also one of the last great poets of the Roman world. He was a master of words, and he used his talent to glorify God. His most famous work is a magnificent epic poem. It's written in over 2,500 lines of classical Latin. It's called De Spiritualis Historia Gestis, which translates to On the Events of Spiritual History. This poem retells the great stories from the Bible, the creation of the world, Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, their fall from grace, the great flood with Noah's Ark, and the Israelites' dramatic crossing of the Red Sea. He didn't just retell the stories, he brought them to life with vivid detail and powerful emotion. He showed how these ancient events were not just stories, but symbols of our own spiritual lives. For example, he presented the Great Flood and the crossing of the Red Sea as powerful symbols of baptism, washing away sin and leading to new life. His poetry was so beautiful and profound that it's believed he had a major influence on a much later English poet you might have heard of, John Milton. It's the author of the masterpiece, Paradise Lost. It's amazing to think that Avitus's words, written over 1,500 years ago, helped inspire one of the greatest works of English literature. He also wrote a long poem for his sister, Faustina, who was a nun. This poem, called De Virginitate, celebrated the beauty of a life dedicated completely to God. It was a personal and comforting work, showing his deep love for his family and his faith. But his writing didn't stop with poetry. We are lucky that nearly 100 of his letters have survived. These letters are like a time capsule. They give us an incredible first-hand look at the politics, culture, and church life of his era. One of his most famous letters was written to Clovis, the powerful king of the Franks, congratulating him on his baptism into the Catholic faith. This letter is a crucial historical document, showing the pivotal moment when another major Germanic kingdom embraced Catholicism, forever shaping the future of Europe. While Avitus is mostly remembered for his intellect and leadership, some traditions also tell of miracles he performed. One story says he restored speech to a herdsman who couldn't talk. Another tells of him visiting a village and, through his prayers, bringing a fellow monk back to life who had passed away. These stories show that the people who knew him saw him not just as a brilliant mind, but as a man filled with the power and grace of God. Saint Avitus lived until around the year 518, or perhaps a little later. He was buried in the monastery of St. Peter and St. Paul in his beloved city of Vienne. He left behind a world that was profoundly different from the one he was born into. But thanks to his tireless work, it was a world where the Church stood stronger, more united, and ready to guide humanity into a new era. So what can we learn from Saint Avitus today? His story teaches us that even when the world feels chaotic and uncertain, faith provides a steady rock. It shows us that you don't need to shout to be heard. Wisdom, patience, and genuine love are far more powerful tools for changing hearts and minds. He reminds us that our talents, whether in writing, speaking, or leading, are gifts from God that we can use to build a better world. Saint Avitus was a bridge builder. He bridged the gap between the old Roman world and the new Germanic kingdoms. He bridged the gap between different Christian beliefs. He showed how the timeless truths of the gospel could speak to any culture in any age. In our own time of rapid change and deep divisions, the example of Saint Avitus of Vienne shines as brightly as ever. He is a saint for our times, reminding us to be people of wisdom, courage, and unifying love. Thank you for joining us to learn about the incredible life of Saint Avitus of Vienne. And I hope his story inspires you to use your own gifts to bring light and unity to the world around you. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss our next journey into the lives of the saints. Take care, everyone. Stay safe and healthy as usual. See you next time, and God bless you always.